Okay, so what's my number one consideration when I'm building a sales organization for what I would consider a typical small business? Tune in to learn more about what I've learned over the last several years in running my own solution provider and agency business. Hi, my name is Stephen Joseph, and I'm the president and founder of EvoStream Communications. Now, I spent the first part of my career working as a sales professional for a large corporation. The second part of my career, I've spent working as an agent in a small business model where I'm providing consultative sales and services directly to my clients. Now, I represent large telecom carriers, so I do have the support and resources and branding of those firms that I rep. However, my resources are considerably different in the way that they are aligned from how they were when I was a seller for a large corporation. So, what is the main consideration that I believe small business owners have to make when they have a startup or they have a new product or service that they're looking to get into the market? You have a go-to-market strategy, you've identified your audience and the key considerations and indicators that will support the type of products and services you want to distribute. And most people then say to themselves, I need to build a sales force. I need to build a sales organization from the ground up. And that is going to include, hiring anyone from folks that kind of set the table, cold callers, telemarketers, etc., to the folks that are going to be customer facing. Normally those are senior salespeople that have a lot of experience being in front of clients, going on meetings, setting agendas, and ultimately putting proposals and closing sales. So I have a different approach than I think a lot of people might think is necessary to roll out a new product or service in a small business model. Once you get to scale, things kind of change, but the purpose of this video is kind of to help people that are in a similar situation as myself or in a startup endeavor and are looking to figure out, how do I start making sales? And what I did when I first started my agency is I committed myself personally to being 100% responsible for the sales. Now, when we're developing a product or we have a new exciting business venture, oftentimes the marketing and the operational components, developing the actual product, doing the research, the design, rolling something out, that's really exciting, right? But the sales is very difficult and complicated. And out of habit, a lot of folks like to distribute that responsibility to other people. The reality is that as owners and operators, we understand the inner workings of our businesses usually better than anyone that we can hire, especially in the beginning. The other thing to consider is we don't know what we don't know yet. So it's very difficult for us to put together a sales and marketing strategy and then hand that over to someone when we haven't yet really proven it out. Meaning we haven't tripped over ourselves. We haven't been on a bunch of meetings and handled the objections from customers and then figured out what are the right rebuttals that actually work. So it's sort of foolish and premature to say, you know what? I've built the product, now I need to build the sales team. What I recommend and what I've done myself is I've built an operations team. I've built the foundation and the people around me to support me as the salesperson, to make sure that I can maximize the time that I'm spending distributing my message, distributing my product, building my personal brand, and then of course, going on meetings and seeing customers and understanding what it is they want out of our service, right? So what's difficult about that is ultimately you are going to be 100% responsible for the revenue that comes into the company. I think that's a great thing, but it is a heavy load to carry because if you start building out your back office, you start thinking, well, wow, now I have to, contribute to payroll. There's going to be an added responsibility there. But eventually you can kind of shift those responsibilities. You can find people that aren't necessarily salesmen or women in the organization that can really facilitate sales just because of the relationships you're able to broker with them and your clients. For example, you may have a project manager or an inside salesperson who's got great relationship building skills. They don't think of themselves as a salesperson, but if you put them in the right position to be successful, they can start doing that for your customer. That's why you see a lot of companies now, they have customer success managers. They're focused on adoption, right? If you can get a client onto your product and service and you're a good salesperson, maybe you hand off the second stage of that sales cycle to somebody who's really good at building relationships through service, life cycle support, and other key, considerations throughout the relationship with your client. So you don't always need to focus first on getting a bunch of great salespeople. Number one, it is very difficult to hire salespeople, especially the real rock stars. Normally those guys are in positions where they're making good money, they don't want to leave, or they're running businesses themselves because they figured that they can make even more by doing it as a direct agent or broker. So you have to really step back and say, do I want to be the main salesperson in this organization? Or do I want to just develop a product and a service and I want to see what happens? I want to see it roll out and I want others to do it for me. My personal experience is it's very difficult to hire salespeople in the early stages of building your business. You have to do most of the sales yourself and you have to be in front of clients and accountable yourself. Customers really appreciate it when they know they are talking to the person that can get them answers, the person that really understands the business the best. And then again, during that process, maybe it's going to take you a year, you're going to start to understand what the standard objections are, what the feedback is when you first make a few sales, what the challenges are, so that when you do hire, you can do so selectively and you can look for the right skill set. So hopefully this is helpful for anyone that's out there and is considering starting their own business, whether it's a sales agency like mine, or they're trying to roll out a product, they have a startup, and they're just finished with sort of that first phase of development, and now they're ready to go into the market and try to make some sales. If you have any questions, please feel free to direct message me. I love seeing comments and feedback in the post. So thanks again for tuning in and have a great day.